Harrison March, as Karen said. So all the information on this slide is already old news, and we'll just jump right into information about Heritage. What Heritage is technically is called an Area Agency on Aging. We serve 7 counties here in East Central Iowa. You can see them there on the right-hand side of the screen. And we focus on 3 main groups of consumers. Older adults, that's anyone 60 and older, an adult living with disability, and then caregivers, both for older adults and for those with a neurological disorder. Heritage supports them by offering services that support independent living, by allocating funding from the federal level, the state level, and through grant programs and donations. We allocate that all around the service area to try to address the different needs in various communities around. And then we also do some advocacy work that's both locally and at the state level, and then sometimes that even extends to the national level, especially when something like the Older Americans Act comes around. That was just recently, within the last couple of months, I think the renewal came through for that, which we were very excited about, and that allows us to continue serving here in East Central Iowa. Area agencies on aging are founded under that Older Americans Act. That was passed way back in 1965, and Heritage itself is actually going to turn 50 next year, so we'll have some birthday party planning to do. But we are one of 6 AAAs here in the state and one of 600 across the country. And through the Older Americans Act, it's our job to adapt to every community that we're serving, not just our own region here, but really each and every community that we cover in our 7 counties. And it's the same deal for all the other agencies on aging across the state. And ultimately, our goal is to support the health and independence of older adults. We want to help them maintain their quality of life at a minimum, and hopefully we can help them even improve it. Part of obviously supporting older adults is being able to support their caregivers. That's a big part of being an independent and healthy and thriving older adult sometimes. So we want to make sure we're covering all the bases for people. Caregiver support program then is kind of what brings me here today. That's one of our core programs at Heritage, and it's made up of a few different services as well as some education efforts that we do like this here today. One of those services, I'll start at the top there, is caregiver counseling. That focuses mainly on problem solving and emotional support. It kind of, just when you've got issues, when you're having a tough day as a caregiver, whether you're at a peak or a valley, even if you're just having a great day, and you need someone to, say, hey, thanks for the support, or, where can I turn to help others in my community with, the caregiving tips of the trade that I know of. That's a good place to go. We can be available over the phone, our business hours or, normal office hours, but we're also able to do a lot of in-person stuff. COVID has restricted that to some degree, but we're happy to meet with folks in person when we're able to. Moving on to options counseling. That's part of one of the cool things I think that Heritage does. We focus on that within the caregiver program and some of our other programs as well. Helps you make smart choices with unbiased information. We're measured by how we help people and the amount of good that we can do to help people make smart choices and support their own goals for independent living. So when we can provide you with as much thorough, unbiased information as possible, and that helps you make really smart choices about the resources that you have available, not only to help you as a caregiver, but to help the person that you're caring for. Maybe one way to ease your burden as a caregiver is to reduce something like having to prepare meals. And so we might be able to connect you with something like a Meals on Wheels program or a local food distribution. If COVID weren't around right now, maybe it would be a congregate dining program where people could go meet in person and socialize and have a good meal. So really all about getting as much information to you as we can so that you're able to make a great choice as a caregiver and make one that's as informed as possible. The last one listed on this slide here is pretty new. We picked it up last year. It's called Caregiver Case Management, and that's more of a long-term program, a long-term service, I should say, for people who are going to need support for at least 3 months, maybe even going further, which is totally fine. We want to make sure that in the case management service that we're helping you put a sustainable solution in place. So we take a look at the mental needs, emotional needs, and physical needs of the person you're caring for and try to identify what we'll call a care plan. And that will be some steps we can take, some services we can bring together from different, not only Heritage programs, but programs and agencies around our region and in your community. And we'll get that care plan in place, help you get it moving, and then make sure that you've got the follow-up support that you need going forward. We never want to, put this plan in place and say, all right, good deal. We'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by. We want to make sure that you've got that long-term support so that this is something that sustains itself for a long while and helps you remain in your home, remain in your community, and maintain your independence as long as we can. I know earlier I mentioned education is a big part of it too. One thing that I used to hear a lot going to resource fairs, which it feels like it's been forever since we've been able to host something like that, but would hear a lot about caregivers who maybe one day that you go to sleep and everything's normal, and the next day you wake up, suddenly you're a caregiver and you kind of are starting at square one, don't know where you're heading, don't know what resources are available. So we want to help make sure that you learn about what it's like to have that role, how to adapt to it, know what community resources are available. Caregiver Wellness Day obviously is a huge part of that, and there's a couple photos there from last year's event. And I said earlier, I wish we could do it in person because it's a lot of fun not to, only meet people and converse with them, but just to have a day of caregivers being taken care of for once. And so I missed that event, and I hope we can bring it back next year. But in place of it, I think this series is a really great way to still get a lot of information to folks. We also partner with other agencies around the area, and there's plenty across the state even, with a program called Powerful Tools for Caregivers. And that's another way to learn about the caregiving role, learn how to take care of yourself, learn tips for avoiding burnout, which I know we'll hear more about in our series next month, and just overall how to thrive in that new role. We are able to do those classes virtually, which is cool. And it's a whole new undertaking because normally it's an in-person setup. But if you're interested in learning more about the class or want to sign up for one, our phone number's been there at the bottom, and I'll have it up here again at the end of the slides here. And that's how you should connect with our caregiver support team, and they can get you information about the upcoming series. So that's all caregiver specific information. One of the things I love about working at Heritage is that we do a ton of stuff, but it also means that giving a presentation, sometimes it's hard to be succinct because there's so much ground to cover. So one way I kind of think of it is how we bring together all these little puzzle pieces. For one person, you might have a puzzle that's almost complete and you just need help with one service or one thing, and you can maintain your independence or improve your independence even. Maybe it's something like mowing your lawn in the summer and you need help finding a chore service that can come out and do that. Other people might be in a situation where they just are kind of starting out on this journey. They only have a couple of their pieces together, and so they need to pull in a lot of different parts of it. And so Heritage does have a lot of other programs and services that help complete that puzzle, if you will. One of them, I've listed a few of them here, but to start off at the top, our information referral and assistance program is sort of similar to what I mentioned earlier with caregiver options counseling, helping you find unbiased information that's really thorough and complete and helps you understand what's available in your community, how to connect with those resources. Sometimes we can make referrals if it's something like an attorney that specializes in elder law. We might be able to make a referral to Iowa Legal Aid, who we subcontract with, to make sure you're working with the best people that we have in our area, and they can complete that whole follow through if it's not not something that Heritage staff do, such as practice law. We also work, as I mentioned earlier, with adults with disability. Aging and disability resources then help those adults with disability find the long-term support that they need within their community. A big focus of not only that program, but our information referral and assistance as well, is trying to make sure that we'll find these services within your own community, even if it's not right there in your city, in your town, someone who covers your region so that you can get the help you need. A lot of times we'll find, especially in our rural counties, it's not right there down the street, but it's somebody who can travel from Lynn County. I believe even Karen at Home said you guys do some of that traveling a little bit outside of the Cedar Rapids area to make sure that people get the help that they need. And so ultimately, we'll connect you with anybody that we can that's available to serve you. Our elder rights team, they focus on the prevention of and raising awareness about elder abuse. I should mention, I always try to make sure if you or someone you know is in immediate danger, always call 911. But the elder rights team at Heritage is part of the long-term recovery, helping people escape their abusive situations and creating more long-term plans for regaining their independence and making sure they have that follow-up and that support they need in the long term. Nutrition and wellness. focuses on the physical health of older adults. That program is a little different right now than it looked even 4 or 5 months ago, with congregate dining not being the safest setting right now. So we transitioned a lot to more home delivered meals, more meal pickups, which I think are doing a good job addressing the gap right now, but we hope someday we can get back to congregate dining so you get more of that socialization, which is so key for older adults as well. And then wellness, we do teach evidence-based wellness classes right now. If you want to check some Tai Chi lessons out, we've got them available on our Facebook page and on our website. Brian normally leads those classes in person, but that's just another way that we've had to adapt lately to sort of go with the flow of things and make sure that we can still get good information and good fun activities out to folks, but while maintaining our safety and knowing that it's important to have these resources available 24/7, even when we're in this pandemic. So that really hits on all of our core programs there. There's even more that we do, but like I said earlier, there's a lot to cover, and I don't want it to be too overwhelming. So if you want to find out more information about programs, services, anything about Heritage, really, you can head to our website there, www.heritageaaa.org. Lastly, I've just got contact information on here for our agency. The thing I love about my job is I get to brag about all the work that my coworkers do, because really they do the awesome people, the people helping of things, and I get to talk about how cool they are. So if you do want to connect with any of our services or programs, call one of those numbers there on the screen. We'll get back to you within a business day or two. Right now we're not in our office, so can't visit in person, and we're checking our voicemails as regularly as we can to make sure that we're following up with people right away. And hopefully someday soon we can share updates about getting back into our office. That is a ton of information about Heritage, I know, but like I said earlier, it's great that we can come get here together and share all the info and get the word out about how we can support caregivers here in East Central Iowa. And I know beyond, there's a lot of work. Obviously, Kitty, you go international with some of your research, but even just within our network of agencies on aging here in Iowa, it's a real great thing to be a part of, especially in a time like this when support is so key. So I appreciate